It's day 4 of reading from the devotional book, When Jesus Speaks to a Woman's Heart. The devotion I'm going to be reading today is A Listening Ear. I am ready to speak a good word to you, but sometimes you do not hear, or you run the other way. Other times you will ask a friend for advice or seek an answer from books, yet all the while I am vying for your attention. I, wisdom personified, want to tell you what I am about to do in your life, in your world. Are you listening? Will you be my willing servant? This relationship we have is not to be one, but two-sided. There is a time for you to speak, and then a time for you to listen, and then not just listen, but obey. I have a word for you, a woman after my own heart. You are also the apple of my eye. I see your face and smile, knowing how stupendous you are, if only you knew it too. When I come calling your name, open up your ears and heart. Respond with love and obedience, and then behold, wondrous things will unfold. And the verse that goes with the devotion today is 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 10 and part of 11. Now the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel answered, Speak, for your servant hears. Then the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, in our modern world, it can be really hard to stop long enough and get quiet long enough to really listen to what God's telling us. But I think what's even harder is not just listening, but obeying. And although I don't generally get very personal online, I feel called to share my experience with you, and I just hope that it'll help someone else. I've spent the last couple of years hearing God calling me to something else and being too afraid to obey. God had placed on my heart what He wanted me to do, but I was too afraid to do it. And if you've ever been in that position, it's a hard position to be in. And over those 2 years, I made all the excuses. It just wasn't the right time. I just wasn't quite ready. I would do it later. And after spending 2 years not following God's plan for me, I finally realized that in order to obey, I needed to look to Jesus for the strength and the courage, because I'd spent 2 years not having the strength and the courage to do it on my own. And as scary as it was, and still is, the end of last year, I finally made the decision to fully trust God's plan and to turn it over to Him and to rely on Him for the strength and the courage to follow His path for me. So I don't know who needed to hear that today. I pray that this video gets to that person, whoever they are, to encourage them to not just listen, but to also obey. You can do it. I know it's scary, but you can do it when you trust in God. And there's a verse that I recite to myself daily because it's still scary. And this is what helps me keep my trust in God's plan for me. So I want to share that verse to finish out our devotional today. And hopefully it will help someone else make the decision to trust in God and follow His plan that He has for them. and that is Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own understanding. Think about him in all your ways, and he will guide you on the right